So you decided to start working out, and somebody suggested to you that squats is a great thing to put in, but you're not sure how or why. Well, in today's video, that's exactly what we're going to go over. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome to the Gym Survival Guide, where we talk all things gym and fitness related. I'm your host, David, and as promised in the earlier intro, today's entire episode is going to be dedicated to the squat, the how and the why. But not just any old squat, it's my favorite kind of squat. It's the low bar squat. Let's go! Now, I'm going to go over why this is going to be great for muscular development, but it's also in general really great for gym enthusiasts of all levels just because of its application in life. And we'll go over that a little bit later. Now, if you hear any outside noise, I do apologize. This is actually the gym I train out of. I thought I'd bring you on location and take you out of the office. And my lovely wife, Maria, is behind camera, giving me her services, sacrificing for both of us. She's pregnant in summer, guys, in California. Let's give her a hand, guys. All right. Now, before we get started on the breaking down of the how and the why of the squat, I'm going to go ahead and demo for you a full squat, what it will look like, and then we'll get onto it. Let's go. All right. Old man noises. Let's go, guys. Oh, so heavy. 1, 2. I'm the best squatter ever. All right, not to brag, but that was a pretty cool squat, right, guys? Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. All right, so like I said, today's episode is going to be all about helping you learn how to do the squat. And what you just saw, we're going to break down step by step. That way, by the end of this video, you can be a squatting expert. You will actually know squat. All right, so the first thing that we're going to go over is the height of the bar on the rack. So that way when you walk in, you're in the proper position to set yourself up. So preferably for a low bar, what I like to set up is to have the bar right just below shoulder. So if you're thinking like according to your anatomy, you want to like maybe mid sternum above the nipple area. And I think that's a great placement for anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, 2 inches and all that stuff. No, to your body, that's about where you want it. All right, and then hand placement. If you have really good shoulder mobility, you're going to have your hands coming closer typically. But if you have a hard time, or if you're a bigger guy like me, your hand placement is going to be a little bit wider to make room for the big girthy man that you are, or woman. Equal opportunity here. Okay, and then from there, we are going to go ahead and tuck ourselves into the bar, driving ourselves into it. Now, where we're putting it is not on top of the shoulder. That's more akin to a high bar squat. Since we're doing a low bar, we're actually going to be putting the bar placement on our rear delt. And that's called shelving the bar. And what this does, it gives you a nice secure spot, nice meaty spot for the bar to sit, and you'll be locked in. Now, what's really important here is I want you to envision wrapping the bar around yourself like you would a towel. And what that's going to do is engage your lats and give you more rigidity through the movement and be more stable. Okay. Now we're going to come up with the bar, and then we're going to take a 1-2 step, 1-2 step, 1-2 step out of the rack. And then from there, you're going to find your footing. For most people, they like it just outside of the shoulder width. You can go closer in. Again, this is a mobility issue as well as depending on your anatomy. That's a whole nother side of things. But just find what's comfortable for yourself. Okay. Now, you'll see here that I'm doing what's called an external rotation with my knees. So what that... Hey y'all, editing David here. I said a little oopsie in the recording I did for this video. We're not externally rotating with our knees. We're externally rotating with our hips. It's going to look like the knees are rotating out because the hips are rotating out. So what that's causing to happen is my glutes are going to engage. And this is really important for the type of squat that we're doing. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do, and really, really important here, guys, is do what's called, or build what's called intra-abdominal pressure. Now, that's really fancy textbook talk for get prepared to be punched in the gut, okay? Now, the reason why we do this is so that way when we go down with any load on our back or for lifting anything with complex movement like this, which by the way, this cue is applicable to all your major lifts. We're building that pressure inside to protect your spine. That's right. Abs are not just good or meant to be looking good on the beach. I still haven't successfully done that, but that's not what they're for primarily. They're actually built into you to help protect your spine in a very compromised or complex movement like the squat or the overhead press. Hey y'all, editing Dave again. I know, we're starting to become very much acquainted. I realized while editing this video that I never fully explained why, or rather how we're building up IAP. You're going to breathe in and push outward in a 360 fashion in your abdominal cavity. Okay? Two ways I could demonstrate this for you is one we're going to do what's called a sandwich technique, where we get our hands like this, put it to our sides, and I should be demoing it in this video right here. And that is one external cue that you can utilize to start practicing this. And there should be another video coming up soon showing the actual stomach pushing out. Another way I like to help teach people this is laying on your back with something of a lightweight, anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds, rested on your stomach. And when you breathe in and push against that weight. That's going to help you learn how to build in that pressure. Okay, so once we build up this IAP, intra-abdominal pressure, we're going to go ahead and hinge at the hip. So what this does is it loads your hip with the weight that you're going to be taking down. Now, here's where we're going to make a little bit of a differentiation between the two types of squats that you primarily see people do. So we're talking about the low bar, which is why we're doing a hip hinge. Bar has to travel in the midline of your foot. That's where your balance is at. And because of bar positioning, we have to load the hips. Now, if we're doing a high bar squat, that's more akin to weightlifters like in the Olympics or the Pan Am or CrossFit. They break the weight or the load at the knees and load their quads primarily. And that's why you see them load that way, because of the bar position on their back. That's where they have to break typically. But with the low bar, this is why we're breaking at the hips. So that way we're not putting as much stress on the knees. But here's a really cool situation that's going on with loading the hips. So you are going to be already engaging your back because we got that cool cue of wrapping yourself with the bar. But secondly, you're going to be developing your lower back in your erectors. And then you're going to be loading your glutes, which is, you'll eventually put the max in gluteus maximus with how developed they're going to get. And then towards the bottom of the legs on the backside, you're going to be developing your hamstring because of how we're loading the bar. So the best way to think of it is you're kind of sitting back. And this is what I was saying earlier, it's more applicable to life, because I don't know about you, but I've never seen anybody sit down, or me personally never gotten onto a toilet and break at the knees first. I've always had to sit back carefully, like, oh, got it. But you never break at the knees. So that's what I'm saying, this has more carryover to life. Any type of sitting position, you're typically hinging back. All right. Now, the reason why we are spreading or getting external rotation on the knees, because we're opening up in that area. So it's not just allowing for hip activation, but it's allowing for your knees to travel out more controlled, if that's the way you want to go. And then as you come in, you're going to be pushing against and shooting up. When you are at the bottom position, it's going to feel kind of scary, like you can't do it. I promise you, if you follow the cues properly and you're lifting a weight that is more in line with your ability, you're going to get it just fine. But just remember this important cue: when you're coming up, I want you to drive your heels down to the ground and throw your traps against the bar, shoot up. So what you will effectively see is, instead of a situation where your butt's coming up first, you're going to see a situation like this. So it's all going to move in one fluid motion with practice over time. It's going to look a little robotic at first. Happens with everybody. You're not alone on that one. I'm just saying that's how it's going to look, but eventually will look like the demo that I showed you guys. All right, so I hope you appreciated that edit. I had to pause because I lost my train of thought, guys. Forgive me, new to YouTubing. More used to talking to people face to face, but I promise you, I'm not any less awkward. This is about what you get in real life as well. All right, so when we go back to the footing position, I want you to maintain what's called a 3 point of contact with your feet. So what that means is when you look at your feet, you're going to have the heel of your foot, and then you have the ball of your big toe and the ball of your pinky toe. So the tripod or 3 points of contact is in reference to making sure that those 3 points remain in contact throughout the entire lift. That's going to provide stability and grounding to the floor. Okay? Now, if you find it hard to maybe open up your hips when you're going down, what I want you to think about when trying to do an external rotation before you start your lift is think like you have claws or talons on your feet and you're gripping the ground. And what I like to think about is like I'm standing on top of 2 gears and I'm trying to twist them to start turning. That's going to make you think about externally rotating. Now, some of you might have a limitation in being able to do a barbell back squat. So in this video, we're also going to give you some bonus tips on like some variations of what it is that you can do in place of the barbell squat. I'm not going to demonstrate this one, but the leg press. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect carryover, but the leg press is sufficient in being able to help develop your legs until you get the ability to squat. I know a lot of people talk down on it. I don't know why the leg press gets so much hate. It does, but use it and use it to develop yourself. And even if you can squat, I do recommend it as an accessory to your overall squatting program. All right. Now, one thing I did not go over, but I hope it was demoed, is preferably in any squat variation, you want the crease of your hip to come to the top of your knee or lower. Whole biomechanical reason why, the long and the short, you want that full range of motion to get the full stretch and then ultimately contraction of the muscle. And in there, that's when your quads and your glutes are getting the most amount of stretch in that bottom position. All right, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy on YouTube. But hey, if you feel like you got value out of this, I ask that you like, subscribe, comment, but most importantly, share this video with somebody that you think can get value out of this. Right? Let's bring them into the community. Let's make them a fellow survivalist and grow our channel. I appreciate you guys. And until next time, the set is yours. Peace. Hold me close till I get up. Time is